My name is Vivian. I am 30 years old. I live alone in the city in an apartment that stays quiet even during rush hour. Silence is something I learned to love because growing up, my voice never mattered. That afternoon was ordinary. Emails, coffee gone cold, a meeting pushed to tomorrow. Then my phone buzzed at exactly 3:47 p.m. I didn't look at it right away. Some part of me already knew. When I finally turned the screen over, my chest tightened. Father. That name hadn't lit up my phone in 8 months. No calls on my birthday. No message on holidays. No reply the day my company closed its biggest funding round. Just one short text. Family celebration tonight. Important news about the expansion. Don't be late. No hello. No how are you. Just instructions. I leaned back in my chair and stared at the ceiling. For 8 months, I didn't exist. Then Forbes published my face, my company, and one number. $92 million. That number traveled faster than love ever did. Suddenly, I mattered. They didn't miss their daughter. They noticed the valuation. I felt something settle inside me. Not anger. Not sadness. Clarity. They thought they were calling the same girl who waited for approval. The same girl who smiled too hard. The same girl who hoped family meant safety. They were wrong. To understand why, you have to understand the rain. 2 years earlier, on the night my startup closed its Series B round, I booked the most expensive restaurant in the city. White tablecloths. Soft music. Crystal glasses that caught the light like promises. $20 million secured. I should have been celebrating with investors. Instead, I invited my family. I ordered my mother's favorite seafood. My father's favorite steak. I wore a blue dress I saved for special moments. I arrived early. I sat straight. I checked my phone every minute. 7:15. Empty chairs. 7:30. Waiter refilled water I hadn't touched. 7:45. No messages. At 8, my brother finally replied. He said traffic. He said 5 minutes. He lied. My mother later claimed a migraine. That same night, she appeared smiling in someone else's party video. My father never texted. Not once. I paid $400 for food no one ate. I stepped outside into the rain and cried without sound, because even my tears felt like they were asking for permission. That night didn't hurt because it was new. It hurt because it was familiar. The science fair they skipped. The college graduation they left early. The loan they denied while buying my brother a new truck. They didn't hate me. Hate would have meant I mattered. They simply didn't care. So when my father texted me now, 2 years later, I didn't rush. I didn't dress like a CEO. I didn't wear confidence like armor. I chose a plain sweater. Old trousers. No makeup. I left my luxury car in the garage and took my dented sedan instead. The one with a rattling door and faded seats. If I walked in looking powerful, they would be careful. I needed them relaxed. Superior. Careless. Because careless people reveal the truth. The drive to the country club took 40 minutes, but my thoughts arrived much earlier. Every red light felt like a memory asking to be noticed. Every turn reminded me how many times I had taken the wrong road just to keep the peace. The club gates rose slowly, as if judging my car before allowing it in. The guard barely looked at me. No greeting. No respect. Good. I parked far from the entrance and walked alone. The building glowed warm and expensive, like it was designed to make people feel smaller. I had felt small here before. Not tonight. Inside, the smell of polished wood and old money wrapped around me. Laughter echoed from the dining hall. Their laughter. Confident, carefree, untouched by worry. When I stepped in, My father noticed me immediately. His face lit up with a smile I hadn't seen in years. "There she is," he announced loudly, "our successful daughter." Heads turned. Strangers looked at me with interest they never had before. My mother stood and hugged me. Her arms were tight, rehearsed. "We are so proud of you, Vivian," she said, loud enough for others to hear. Her eyes moved over my clothes, searching for wealth, finding none. Her smile faltered for half a second. My brothers greeted me like an old friend they barely remembered. Jokes, laughter, stories where I was suddenly included. They ordered wine without asking me. They spoke over me. They acted as if nothing had ever been wrong. I sat down and listened. Expensive plates arrived. Forks clinked. Conversations flowed around resorts, investors, and future plans. My father raised his glass. "To family," he said. "To legacy," my mother added. "To expansion," my brother finished. They all drank. I took a small sip and waited. As they talked, I watched. My father's fingers trembled when he held his glass. My brother avoided my eyes whenever money came up. My mother checked her phone again and again, like she was waiting for bad news. Fear has patterns. I had lived with them long enough to recognize everyone. Finally, my father leaned back and sighed, as if carrying the weight of generations. "Vivian," he said gently, "this is where you come in." The room shifted. Every face turned toward me at once. 1.5 million, my brother said casually, as if he were asking to borrow a pen. "Just short term," my mother added quickly. "Family helps family," my father concluded. I didn't answer. I cut my food slowly. I let the silence stretch, thick and uncomfortable. "Which bank is supporting this?" I asked softly. They froze. Then my father laughed. "You always were so serious." "Humor me," I said. "First National," my brother replied too quickly. "And the occupancy rate?" "Healthy," my mother said. "How healthy?" Silence settled again. I nodded slightly, like I was disappointed in myself, not them. "And why the rush?" My father's voice hardened. "Because family doesn't hesitate." That word again. Family. I unlocked my tablet. The screen lit up between us, casting pale light on their faces. Numbers don't argue. Documents don't lie. Default notices. Missed payments. 2 years of decline. Their smiles faded one by one. The celebration drained out of the room. My mother whispered my name, not as love, but as warning. My brother clenched his jaw. My father stared at the screen, then slowly looked up at me. The truth was finally sitting at the table. For a few seconds, no one spoke. The room felt smaller, like the walls had moved closer just to listen. Silverware rested untouched. Wine glasses stopped midair. My father cleared his throat and forced a laugh that sounded hollow. "These numbers are incomplete," he said. "Outdated," my brother added quickly. My mother reached for my hand, then pulled back unsure. I tilted the tablet slightly, scrolling. Dates. Signatures. Official stamps. "These were filed last week," I said calmly. No expansion, no recovery, just debt. My father's smile vanished. "You went digging," he said, his voice sharp now. "I did my homework," I replied. The tone changed instantly. Warmth turned into pressure. Affection into entitlement. "You wouldn't let your own family fail," my mother said, her voice trembling. "After everything we gave you." I looked at her. The woman who missed my birthdays. The woman who forgot my graduation. The woman who taught me that love was conditional. "I paid for my education myself," I said softly. "I built my company myself." My brother slammed his hand on the table. "You owe us," he snapped. "You wouldn't be here without us." The words hit the air like a dare. I stood up slowly. Not angry. Not shaking. I didn't come here to give you a loan, I said. I came here to make a purchase. Confusion spread across their faces. Before anyone could speak, the doors behind me opened. My CFO walked in. Calm. Professional. Carrying a slim briefcase. Good evening, she said politely. I nodded. She placed the documents on the table, one by one. Earlier this morning, I said, my company acquired your outstanding debt. Every loan. Every lien. Every mortgage. The silence this time was different. Heavy. Final. My father pushed back his chair. That's not possible, he whispered. I met his eyes. I'm the bank now. My mother's face went pale. My brother stood up, fists clenched. You can't do this, he said. I already did, I replied. They argued. They shouted. They begged. They tried anger, then guilt, then tears. I waited. When the noise finally faded, I spoke again. These are your options. I slid one paper forward. $200,000. Sign, walk away clean today. Then I slid the second paper. Or foreclosure begins tomorrow morning. The pen lay between us. Quiet. Patient. No one reached for the pen. It sat there between us, like a verdict waiting to be accepted. My father stared at it, as if it might disappear if he refused to acknowledge it. His shoulders, once proud, slowly folded inward. For the first time in my life, he looked small. You're enjoying this, my brother muttered. His voice shook, not with anger but fear. I shook my head. If I were enjoying it, I said quietly, I would have done this years ago. My mother's eyes filled with tears. Real this time. Or maybe just well practiced. We raised you, she whispered. How can you do this to us? I met her gaze without flinching. You raised me to survive, I said. And this is what survival looks like. The room felt heavier with every breath. My father finally reached for the pen. His hand trembled so badly, the tip scratched the paper before finding its place. He paused, looked up at me, searched my face for mercy. I gave him silence. He signed. One by one, the others followed. Reluctant, resentful, defeated. Each signature sounded louder than the last. Scratch. Pause. Scratch. When it was done, my CFO gathered the papers with steady hands. Thank you for your time, she said professionally, as if this were just another meeting. My brother shoved his chair back. You think this makes you powerful, he spat. I looked at him calmly. No, I said, it makes me free. My mother sobbed quietly. My father stared at the table, his reflection fractured in the polished surface. I picked up my coat. No dramatic speech. No victory smile. At the door, I stopped for a moment. I hope you learned something from this, I said. Then I walked away. The hallway outside the dining room felt colder than the table I had just left. Every step echoed, not loudly, but clearly, like the building itself was counting them. Behind me, I could still hear muffled voices. Whispers. Accusations. My name spoken the way it used to be, like a complaint. I didn't turn around. The elevator doors closed with a soft thud. For a second, my reflection stared back at me in the mirrored walls. Not the girl who waited in restaurants. Not the daughter who kept hopping. Someone steadier, quieter. My phone vibrated. One message. My father. I didn't open it. Outside, the night air hit my face, sharp and clean. I breathed in slowly, as if I had been holding my breath for years and only just noticed. As I walked across the parking lot, memories tried to follow me. The first time I asked my father for help with tuition, and he laughed it off. The night my mother said, "Don't embarrass us with big dreams." The way my brothers were always forgiven, always supported, always believed. Those memories felt distant now, like scenes from someone else's life. My old sedan waited where I left it. Dented door, faded paint, still reliable. I sat behind the wheel and rested my forehead against it for a moment. Not crying, just breathing. My phone vibrated again. Then again. Missed calls stacked on the screen. I turned the phone face down. As I started the engine, a strange thought settled in. This wasn't revenge. Revenge is loud. Messy. This was correction. For years, they taught me I was small. Tonight, I simply showed them the truth. The car pulled onto the road, headlights cutting through the dark. The country club disappeared in the rearview mirror, shrinking with every second. I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel guilt. I felt finished. And that feeling told me something important. The hardest part of my life wasn't ahead of me anymore. It was finally behind me. By morning, the legal machine was already moving. Not dramatically. Not publicly. Just efficiently. Emails went out. Accounts froze. Ownership transferred exactly as the contracts allowed. There were no sirens. No courtrooms. No shouting matches. Just law doing what law does best when used correctly. By noon, their resort project was no longer theirs. By evening, the house my mother loved more than my childhood had a new administrator. By night, my brother's car was listed as collateral recovery. They called everyone they knew. Friends vanished. Connections stopped answering. The same way silence once answered me. This time, silence wasn't cruel. It was fair. I sat in my apartment, watching city lights blink on one by one. No celebration. No champagne. Just tea cooling on the table. My CFO sent one final message. All transfers completed. No further exposure, you're clear. Clear. That word stayed with me. I thought I would feel victorious. Instead, I felt lighter. As if a weight I had been carrying since childhood had finally been set down. They taught me power meant control. They were wrong. Power is choice. Power is preparation. Power is knowing when to walk away without asking permission. I didn't ruin them. I didn't humiliate them. I didn't shout or threaten. I simply stopped protecting people who never protected me. That night, I blocked the last remaining numbers. Not in anger. In closure. I looked around my quiet apartment. This life was built by my hands. My discipline. My patience. No one could take it from me. I wasn't a daughter seeking approval anymore. I wasn't an emergency fund. I wasn't a second option. I was the author of my own ending. And for the first time in my life, I slept without waiting for anyone to call. If this story made you feel something real, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and remember, sometimes the smartest domination is silent, legal, and permanent.